And a lot of people say that about their small towns and their villages. But one of the things we know, at least in America, I'm not sure about in Europe, but in America, cities are lonelier than small towns and suburbs.
Hmm.
Their loneliness is at much higher rates, and I guess you would probably imagine that as you described, your own move from this village to this town. But I am talking about my work focuses on the modern loneliness epidemic. That's what I call it, the modern loneliness epidemic. Yes, the experience of loneliness has been around forever. That pang that we feel is evolutionarily baked into us for a long time. And I think things have changed. I also uh, grew up in a city, but I was around my extended relatives, my grandparents, my great grandparents, who were in smaller rural communities. My great grandma had 20 pregnancies. She had
Jeez.
14 children, 11 survived early childhood. And by the way, my great grandma died when I was 16, so I knew her very well.
Hmm.
My mom was one of seven. I'm one of two, and my brother and I each have one child. So families have shrunk massively. There's just our herd has thinned over the most recent generations pretty drastically. So there's less people, and then the other part of the modern loneliness epidemic is exactly what you said. People have moved for wonderful opportunities. When I grew up in this massive family, or massive extended family, I should say, everyone was in the same, I would say, 40-mile radius, 50-mile radius, probably less, probably 30-mile radius if I'm being honest. So we could all get to one another, and people would come together at my great grandma's house for family dinners, and there would be 40 people, 30, 40 on any Sunday. And it was my generation. My father went to college one state away and then came back, after finishing school. He was probably the first one to do that. But then everyone in my generation took opportunities to go to college, to university in various states around the United States, which is obviously massive. You can be a plane ride away. And then they stay there. They get married there, or they move to a completely different city for a wonderful opportunity. But so now, that's another facet of the modern loneliness epidemic, is this mobility, which can be really exciting and it can offer so much, but it does come at a cost, and a cost that we don't often acknowledge. No one prepares you for that. I think in modern child rearing, to be a good parent is to raise a child who knows what they want, what they're good at, what they're going for, and then to help them find that. You don't hear parents anymore who are saying, "Well, what's our family value is that you stay close by."
Yeah.
I don't hear, no one where I live says that. I'm not sure about in Scotland, but no one where I live says that. It's always, yeah, go find yourself. If that takes you across the country or to another, across an ocean, so be it. And they're not saying there is a cost. I think that's one thing that we should be doing more of, is yes, be aware of those opportunities, but be aware of what's lost too, and be prepared to compensate for it. I'll say one of the things about the modern loneliness epidemic that I got to very quickly, and what I loved about, when I first logged onto your website and saw that, what your work is about, kind of the optimization of life through work. And I think that's, if I can boil down what we're called on to do in the
Hmm.
modern loneliness epidemic, it's to accept the fact that in order to optimize our physical health, our mental health, and our social health, because they're all interconnected, we have to work much harder than we ever did. We do not have the luxury of built-in connections through large families. And if we do, they're not all around anymore. They've gone to different places. So we have to work hard to replicate what that village used to hold for you. And sometimes we try to do it in one person. We try to do that in our romantic partner.
Hmm.
And people, wonder why relationships are so pressured these days, because you have to be, the what a whole village used to represent in one relationship. Because that's what I see a lot of here is, I'm not lonely, I have a girlfriend, but she has to be your best friend, your cousin, your uncle, your
That's
grandparent, and your passionate, sexy lover all in one.